Nation, how's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of upcoming films. In this episode, we are going to talk about The Rocketeer, because it is being rebooted. Yes, that's right. The 1991 cult classic film, The Rocketeer, is being rebooted. And actually, it's not really a reboot. I mean, sure, it's being rebooted, but actually, as a matter of fact, it's a sequel because apparently the story takes place 6 years after the original. The original took place in 1932, I think. Yeah, 1932. 6 years after the original would be 1938, so we're still dealing with Nazis. And if you're not familiar with the original, it's about Cliff Secord here, who is a stunt pilot played by Billy Campbell, and then he discovers this rocket pack, and then he gets entangled with mobsters and the Nazi and the FBI, and anyways, he saves the day with his rocket pack and his really, really cool costume. So it's being rebooted, and it's going to be very, very different because, you know, these days, Hollywood is all about changing things up. And by changing things up, I mean diversity. Yes, it is being diversified in the most diverse way, and that is the Rocketeers. That's what they're calling it, the Rocketeers with a plural, because obviously there's going to be more than one Rocketeer. The Rocketeers is going to be a gender-swapped, race-swapped reboot. It is going to be played by, or rather the main lead is going to be played by an African-American female actor. And that's how they're going to reboot it. So, what does everybody think about this? No matter what you think, it is happening. It doesn't matter what you think because Disney made the decision to make this happen, and they already have writers. Max Winkler, Matt Spicer are going to be writing it, and is going to be produced by Brigham Taylor, who produced The Jungle Book. And this idea was actually pitched to them by Blake Griffin of the LA Clippers and Ryan Khalil of the Carolina Panthers. They actually have a media group partnership, and that is called Mortal Media. And they're the ones that actually pitched the idea to Brigham Taylor. And now it's going to be this film is going to be developed at Disney. It's happening. It's going to be a very, very different reboot, but is it really going to be all that much different? All they're really doing is changing the race and gender swapping the hero. Now, I'll be completely honest about The Rocketeer. I said before it's a cult classic. I don't think it's a classic. It's a cult classic. It has a cult following. There's a lot of people that love it. But I really didn't think it was that good. When I watched it as a kid, I thought it was exciting, but when I look back at it, it's not really that great of a film. And I think it's just as good as, I don't know, Dick Tracy with Warren Beatty. I was excited about watching it, and it was a lot of fun, but when I look back at it, it really, really doesn't stand the test of time. But, you know, it's one of those films which a lot of people will say, who grew up during that time, will say that, you know, this is a film that's, you know, it was great back then, okay? And now, you know, so many years later, let's see, let's assume it's coming out in 2 years, okay? That would be 2001, 11. That's like 17 years later, 27 years later, almost 30 years later, they're coming out with a new version. And yeah, it's a reboot. Let's just call it a reboot. It's a reboot because they're bringing something back from many, many, many years ago, and they're trying to inject new life into it. Essentially, they're trying to reboot the franchise and turn it into a franchise. But it still, in a way, is a sequel because it takes place 6 years after the original. Now, here's my thoughts on that. I know that Hollywood is changing things up, and they're doing it just to diversify, not only to diversify, but also to appeal to the masses, because, you know, everybody's got an opinion, and everybody has a different point of view and perspective about things. Everybody's got different beliefs, and also everybody, you know, has different political views. And now Hollywood is starting to get political by changing things up. Now, here's the bottom line for me. This is how I feel. Rocketeer is a cult classic. But if Rocketeers ends up being a good movie and it's fun and entertaining, then I'm all for it. I don't care if they switch it up. I don't care if they change a lot of things. This is a brand new character. They might be rebooting the franchise, but they're not rebooting it in the sense where they're making Cliff Secord a woman. Okay, they're not doing that. This is an entirely different character. And 6 years later, maybe this female African American character is gonna come across the technology, and then they're gonna start up their own vigilante group, and they're calling it the Rocketeers. So that's what's happening. Now, you know, I don't think this disrespects the original in any way. I think they're just changing things up. Now, if you don't already know, it was actually the Rocketeer is actually originally based off of a comic, like an indie comic by Dave Stevens, and I wonder what he feels about that. Because, like, he essentially sold the rights to Disney, and Disney can now do whatever they want with it, right? But anyways, like I said before, if it's entertaining, it's fun, and it ends up being a good movie, then I'm all for it. I'm gonna watch this reboot, no matter what. But I know there's a lot of other people who are gonna boycott it because of this change. But this film, The Rocketeer, the original in 1991, really isn't that great. In fact, it was a box office bomb. I think it's a film that should have been made later on. I think 1991 was not quite the right year for it to come out. I think if it came out later on, in maybe the early to mid-2000s, I think it would actually work out to be a better film, because I think storytelling changed, technology has changed, and things weren't as cheesy back then. But there's a little bit of a charm about The Rocketeer being made in 1991 that still makes it work, kinda. So that's all I gotta say in this video. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments section below, and there you have it. As always, if you want to see more and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. I'm planning to do some pretty wild and hilarious things. One of those things is, of course, cast Sylvester Stallone. In the first one,